I knew the first thing I wanted to do was makeup. So when my father sent the fees for ICAN exams, I went to buy a makeup kit.
God, I beg. This episode is brought to you by Credit Direct. Ajide of Asho, welcome to the Fashion Roundtable.
Hello.
How funny is it that we're wearing the same thing? It's so funny. I got out of the car and then you got out of your car and you were like, no way.
Right.
You know, I didn't even think about it that you would possibly wear the same thing. I love this outfit, by the way.
Thank you.
And the first time, this is the second time I've worn it. The first time I wore it, all the girls were, oh my God, where is it from? Where's it from? We're going to talk about your brand. First of all, how did you even start in this industry? And where did the name come from? I know the name. I mean, obviously, Asho means clothes or cloth in Yoruba, but let's hear your story.
Shall we dial it back to where it all began?
Yes.
Okay, so I always knew that I was going to do something in fashion, but, you know, I didn't know how it was going to be because I was an accounting student.
Okay.
I was doing my chartered accountant exams, and I actually really loved it. Like I loved it at the time, and I was very good at it as well. So I just didn't know what it was. But 300 level COS, I went to work at an audit firm, and I knew that this was never going to be my life.
Why? You hated it?
No, it was just so routine.
Okay.
Like every day, there's measures in place for you to put in credits and debits. There was already tabulated things in place for you to work. And so they would always come, oh my God, you're good at what you do. Like when they give me tasks, I get it out. But that's because like I have a logical way of thinking. And so I know where what applies. And so I'm quick to impute what is supposed to go where what, you know, all of that. And so 400 level, I just came back to school.
What school is this?
Unilorin.
Okay.
Unilorin. It was the only, it was the only uni in Nigeria that didn't have, what's it called? The ASU ban at the time.
Okay.
So it was the easiest for me to go to. And so I knew for sure that I wasn't going back to school I wanted a different path. And I'm one of those that like to start early. So if I know that eventually I'm going to be somewhere, let me start researching early. So I knew the first thing I wanted to do was makeup. So when my father sent the fees for my ICAN exams, I went to buy a makeup kit.
God, I beg.
I went to buy a makeup kit. Not the exams now, the lectures.
Okay.
Right. So I paid for the exams. I was going to write the exams.
Okay.
My roommate was already taking classes. So in my head, I was just like, instead of attending classes, I would read the books. And when the results came out, I passed. I could not check the results. My roommates could check the results for me because, you know, I passed and, you know, I was very excited because God knows that what would I have told my father if I didn't pass? But that's really
see how my mouth is open. Like, wait, that was so bold. What year was this?
This was 2017.
Okay.
This was early 2017.
Okay.
So I just like, and it wasn't a lot realistically. I remember I was even being very creative. Instead of getting the regular makeup boxes in Ilorin around Tanke or so, there were these guys that made cane works. So I told them to build me a box, a custom box, because I wanted like something that was different and everything. So they built me a box. I went and shopped whatever I could get with like about 100K or so that the classes were worth. And that was how I started. And
so to even do makeup in the first place, who taught you? How did you do it?
So it was YouTube. Okay. It was YouTube. Now, the break between first and second semester, we had 3 weeks. And so I tried to find somewhere in Lagos to learn makeup. And my father was like, no, now cat's out of the bag. Like I told him I wanted to do it. He said no.
What was his reason?
Oh, my father is very traditional.
Aha.
Like, is the go to, I had to negotiate to be in, to not be a science student, by the way. I had to
Okay.
negotiate to say, oh, I want arts, but he said, no arts, science. And I said, the middle is what? Accounting.
Business.
So,
Okay.
so he said, no, outrightly. My mother would support him. So obviously she was like, oh, I'm not in support if your father is not in support. And I was like, okay, cool. And I said, okay, this holiday, I want to go to my grandma's place. I didn't argue with them. I just told them I wanted to go to my grandma's. And I went to my grandma's, got an internship with a beauty store that does makeup. They were looking for a content creator. So I told them I was a content creator. I know nothing about content creating, by the way. I told them I was a content creator. You know, I was able to speak English, convince them that I know the job. And so on the job, I was learning. I was just looking at the girls as they taught them things. And very quickly, in like my first week, they were able to see my interest. Okay. By the way, this store was inside Messi Aigbe's fashion house in Ikeja.
Okay.
Then, so very quickly, I got like tangled into like celebrity business. Do you understand? And, you know, I started to learn. They saw my interest. I would buy makeup things from like my savings, you know, and, you know, I started to learn. And very quickly, the woman would see that I was doing better than some of the girls that she was training. So she would allow me join the class. But unfortunately, it was just 3 weeks and I had to go back to school.
Oh, no.
So that's with learning there. And then I continued on YouTube. I also knew for sure that I didn't want to be just like the typical makeup artist that you had seen they had in Nigeria. I didn't want to go for beauty. I wanted to do more editorial stuff. And then when I came to Lagos after my NYSC, I knew that let me start, like life got serious. My savings were quickly running out. So my parents weren't going to fund what I had dreamed of. So the best way to do it was to get a job. And then I tried to get a job at Orange Culture and they didn't respond to me.
Shout out bio.
And I went to Twitter and I was like, everybody see, I sent an email to Orange Culture and they didn't respond to me and blah, blah, blah. And they claim that they are supporting young people, blah, blah, blah. And Bayo was on Twitter at the time. And he responded. And he was like, never bring email stuff to Twitter. And I got a call the next day. And I know that was one of the very defining moments for me because I couldn't believe that something that I just randomly tweeted went on and got me the job.
Yeah.
And again, I lied in my CV because I know nothing about fashion.
Okay.
So
you just liked.
I've always known that I had like pure interest and genuine talent for these things. So I knew that if I got into somewhere where, you know, they had just like an inkling of interest in what I'm able to offer, we'll be able to rub minds together and learn. And I am one of those people who uses Google a lot. I know for sure that if you want to learn anything, just Google it. Like, you don't even need to ask anybody. So I got the job. Very funny because Bayo didn't interview me. Bayo, like the office in London or New York interviewed me. Like there was this person I was speaking to. It was a very long process, but I just kept, you know, winging my way through the question, answering very well. And when they had called me that I got the internship, I was very excited. And that's how I started. And I chose Orange Culture because they had a very perfect blend of beauty and fashion. Their work is editorial and, you know, I could also learn a thing or two from fashion. And that's where it started. My experience as the intern, in about 3 months Bayo could literally see how much I was dedicated to the work. I think it was outside the country and we had a order of about for a store. And those are usually you have to be very meticulous about those things. The details, you know, they're going to stores. These stores are going to send them back to Nigeria, which means we don't get that sold. So it was not in the country to process that. And I sent him a video of what I had done. And I believe that was where he realized that I was here to actually.
So you were actually like sewing?
No, I wasn't sewing.
What were you doing?
I was running all the errands.
Okay.
So do this, do that.
Okay.
You know, talk to the tailors, communicate. I was like the in-between between the tailors and the and buyer himself. And there was another assistant at the time, who was superior to me. So I was just the in-between. But at the time, they were both not available. And the way I'd handled the others made him very impressed. And the way I'd packaged them, got them ready to go. And then, from there, we just kept building and building.
How long were you on Orange Culture for?
4 years.
Wow. And so when did you decide, let me go do my own thing?
I don't think I ever decided to go do my own thing.
Okay.
Funny enough, I like to be very truthful about things. I'm an adult. You will not beat me. So from my time in Orange Culture, I also started to do very well with projects. I got big projects through the brand, and I started doing film. I started doing makeup for film, did Gangs of Lagos, did a few projects here and there that already made me, my pockets a bit filled.
So you did makeup for Gangs of Lagos?
Yeah, I did makeup for Gangs of Lagos.
Okay, how was that?
It was very interesting. Very, I believe that all of this has contributed to my storytelling as the creative director for Asha. It's why my storytelling, I believe, is very key to me, that we tell stories and the way that we photograph them.
Fashion films and stuff like that. You're very artistic.
Yes.
So at what point did Asha begin as an entity, as a brand?
So I had gone to meet a client of Orange Culture, Eniolu Adeolua. And it was at a very low point in my life. I'm also very, very introverted. So I just lost my sister. And that was in 2020. Yeah. Very crazy experience. But so I had gone to Annie's house. I just am very bubbly, very lively. And
very
he
happy
could
guy.
sense that I was not something was wrong. And the way for me to cope losing my sister was to bury myself in work. I remember Baya saying I didn't have to come to work for a month or so. But I was just I resumed the next Monday. Realistically, if I'm sitting, I'm thinking, right? So I just wanted to be at work. And so I went to meet this client. It was very bubbly. And then we started to, I remember I didn't take his number or anything. I didn't know who he was. And he sent me an email. He said he had found my page. And he had found my page. He sent me an email to say, oh, I see that I think that you're a cool person. I'd like us to be friends, blah, blah, blah. This is my number. Call me. And we started a friendship from there. And about 2 years in, we knew, we wanted to create something, or a year in rather. We wanted to create something that was, in the sense of it, what Orange Culture had, but we could not afford Orange Culture realistically.
Baya has been at it for a while.
Yes, we could not afford Orange Culture. So what Annie had said to me was, I can't always afford Orange Culture. Let's try to create something that was our own. And I was like, I'm still working here. And I remember when we chose the name, it was something somewhere. And then I said, okay, cool. And I wrote a proposal and sent to Bio. So we're going to be a subsidiary of Orange Culture.
Okay.
Yes. That was a year before I left Orange Culture. That's in 2022. Yeah.
So what did he say?
I think he mentioned that we needed to develop more on it.
Okay.
So it wasn't discarding it, but it was encouraging us to understand what we wanted to get into. And I don't think the conversation ever came up again. But in 2022, I was doing another film, and I just realized that I'd gone to Parsons in 2021, by the way. I'd gone to New York, seen more of life.
Designers.
Seen more of life, seen more of designers, seen a lot of stuff. And I just knew that, number one, I knew that no one, and at this time, Fenty had come to Nigeria. I think I met you at the Fenty thing.
I met you at the Fenty event.
Yeah. Fenty had come to Nigeria. I wore an outfit to Fenty event, posted it on Twitter, blew up like crazy. It blew up like crazy. I had people texting me.
I think you wore a corset.
No, I wore a pant and a top, and it had it just had a lot of details. It was Bio who
had a corset on.
Yeah, Bio had a corset on.
Yeah.
He had a corseted suit on. Anyway, people started texting me from Twitter. People found me on everywhere. Lisa Folawiyo found me. The very fashionable people found my page, and I started getting jobs. I remember somebody sent me I think it was 13K. USD to design a collection for them. Yes. And I realized that this was after going to Parsons, by the way, after just coming out from Parsons.
Wait, you can't just gloss over going to Parsons. For those who don't understand, Parsons is kind of like the Yale, Stanford kind of standard for fashion schools. I mean, if you're thinking of fashion schools, you're thinking FIT, thinking Parsons. And the reason I know Parsons was because I used to watch Project Runway.
Yeah.
The American version with Tim Gunn and all these people, and they used to use Parsons and stuff. That's how so I'm just like, how did you wait, guy? You can't just say I went to Parsons like I went to a band. How did you get into Parsons? Where did you find the money? Like, what happened? How?
I think that one of the best features I have, and I still don't know how till date, I genuinely don't know how, is I was a big saver. I'm always a big saver. Is how I'm able to fund, like, I was able to fund going to the internship job in 300 level by myself. Is how I'm able to, like, a lot of these things, I'm just like, I had savings, so let me do what I'm able to do.
Let me go do this program at Parsons. How long was it?
I used to subscribe to these things online, and I found I think it was called Fashion Essentials, and they just alerted me one day of a scholarship. And I was like, okay, let me check this out. And they got me about 50% off the tuition. And I was also able to pay monthly. That's what's good with these things. So you're able to do like a subscription. So what I also did 6 months in Nigeria, did 6 months over there. Okay. So it wasn't crazy for me. It wasn't too crazy.
It was a, what's it called? Online course?
Yes. Okay. The first 6 months was online.
Okay. And then you do the remaining 6 months in New York.
Yes.
I'm sure you met so many people. It opened you up to so many things.
Let me maintain that I'm always a shy person. One, I'm effeminate, so I always...
You're a shy person. You're showing us cleavage. You have earring down to your chin. Why are you shy? I wear hot pink on a Monday.
So that's my way of...
pretending that you're not shy.
Yes, because nobody needs to know anything about you unless they actually have like an interaction with you. So my way of shielding myself to look very courageous, or what's that thing, bold, is fashion. Through fashion.
Expressing
do you understand?
yourself,
So I'm very shy. My head is down. I usually, throughout my uni years, I didn't know anybody. I didn't talk to too many people. That's the same thing that was with Parsons, because I was also very young. I was like 21, 22. I didn't know what was happening. I'd come from a world where I didn't get so much support. So I usually was just eyes on the goal so you can get out of here.
I don't think you understand. I understand that you've been on your grind, but I don't think you realize that you've also been very blessed in that. Do you know how many people apply? They have scholarships to good schools abroad. And they get turned, like the visa process. How did that happen? Like
it was. I mean, I have my very big shares of all these stories. I remember even afterwards, I still tried to go to Paris for Fashion Week with Orange Culture, where they had invited us, and I still got turned down. So I understand when you mean that the visa process.
You've been blessed,
it's
because
very crazy.
It's not easy. So I can't wait to speak with Bayo because, bruh, this guy does amazing things. Shout out to him, by the way, and still manages to remain humble and just pleasant when you see him. He's always so polite and so kind. I've not worked with him. I've not. Do you understand? But every time I encounter him, he's really like pleasant.
I think he's such a pleasant person.
Yeah, and he's doing so much work, and he doesn't make noise. He just does his work. You don't hear him in any drama. I've never. Do you understand that kind of thing? That's as far as I know. Do you understand? So shout out to him for that.
Shout out to him.
You went to Parsons, came back. What did that experience do for you? How did it broaden your mind?
It made me realize no one was ever going to pay me my worth.
Okay. So you
especially
need to
in
do
the
your
Nigerian space. It made me realize so much. There was so much more that was lost in the Nigerian space. Or let's say the industry. I don't think there's an existence industry, but I think that it just made me realize how much was lost.
I'm sure you came back like, we're joking here. We're joking.
I came back.
Trying,
I came back and we did Fashion Week, and I was just like, what is this mess. I'm serious. Like backstage, imagine backstage now and imagine backstage then.
Mm.
Do you understand?
But
There's
as in
so much
backstage
work.
Fashion Week Nigeria.
Yes, there's so much that's been put in place now.
Mm-hmm.
But imagine then as a growing space, everybody was trying,
Mm-hmm.
but I just understood that
We need to do a lot.
No, we need to do so much more because it was just I just didn't see it. I didn't see it. I didn't think we had an industry. And I was just hoping for more like collectiveness. Also, it just made me realize that we're just a bunch of individuals all trying to do our own stuff and make it. There was no collective, there was no industry. So yeah, I immediately thought, how did I want to survive in this space? And thankfully, the part that has made me the most money was this 13,000 USD that this person had paid me. So immediately I said, excuse me, I want to be an independent designer.
Mm-hmm.
Now I want to start designing for people.
Because this is a one-off job and look at this. So imagine.
Yeah. And I want to start designing for people and just, sketch, send to them, do the approvals, do the back and forth. I don't have to leave my room. What do you mean? Yes. And at that time, I would Uber back and forth. Sometimes enter bus to Balinde, then Uber to Lekki One at my job. And the Orange Culture building is inside this estate.
Okay.
So at the time, there was the bus stop just right out there, and you'd have to walk in. And after walking into Millennium Estate, then you have to walk in again into the main estate.
The actual building.
There was just so much going on, and I was just like, you know what? If I don't have to leave my room and I can make money this way, that makes sense to me. And in 2020, at the end of 2022, I remember somebody just sending me a Design Shark International thing, like, oh, they are doing a competition, you should enter. And I was like, oh, are they going to allow me enter as an independent designer? I don't have a brand, right? But if they're going to allow me enter as an independent designer, I'm with it. And, I signed up for it. They approved it. And before then, I designed a dress for my friend who was going to Big Brother.
Okay.
The dress made so much
Angel.
noise. No, Alison.
Alison, sorry.
Yes.
Alison, yes, I remember.
And I remember the
With
dress
the bald head,
yes, I remember the dress was pink. It was beautiful. It made so much noise, dragged so much attention to my page as well. So I liked being an independent designer, doing one-offs. Do you understand? It was very easy for me. At the time as well, I also had a side gig designing for Aga Culture.
Okay.
Yes, so I was designing and monitoring the production.
Okay.
So I had a few things going on, but it wasn't anything serious. So I entered into the competition. They said they needed like 5-10 looks, I think, and I did 5. I think it was 5, yes. And I did 5 in 2 days. And that was what bettered my, do you know the stoned denim jacket that I first did?
I don't know if I remember that.
But that also did like some noise on
Did you
social
win?
media. I didn't win. I wasn't in top 5.
Okay.
And guess what? Everybody kept telling me I was robbed, I should have been in top 5. And there was just so much drama. And that was when I first learned like politics. I mean, the politics of the industry.
Welcome.
And so I was just like, okay, cool. Because what I realized was every other person who was on the competition was a brand. Every other person
had established things.
Every other person brought their older collections, brought pieces that were the strongest from their older collections. But I designed 5 looks in 2 days.
Okay.
I was running around Lagos Island. I didn't have tailors. I had people in Lagos Island. I remember my friend Funshaw in store who helped me, literally gave me one of his tailors. I mean, they're very busy, but he gave me one of his tailors for that day. And I stoned the outfit myself on Alison's brother dining table. All of this just like helps me remember the beginning. And I didn't win, but that was the beginning of the journey for me. And I then developed these 5 pieces into a 20 look collection that Asha then did a show for in 2022, in December 2022. And then we officially launched the brand in March 2023.
Wow. What a story. Like, I'm just like, wow.
I've never really told it.
And again, thank you. This is the reason why this show exists, because I'm like, who is telling these stories? We need to hear your stories. We cannot just be doing like this on social media. How did it happen? Because
Right.
there's actual human beings, coming up with these plans, starting, failing, winning, and we need to tell these stories. So how did you decide what the brand would be about, the language of the brand, or should I say like the identity? Because honestly, can I tell you what I think? It's
Please
for
do.
like a very feminine woman. Like, I know you make for men too. There's men, there's women's, but from like, she's like a baddie. I don't like, it's not a babe who is shy. It's not a babe who wants to be covered from here to here. She's loves color. She loves metallic stuff. She loves mini skirts. She loves just to be feel feminine, flirty. That's what I see. So you tell me.
Right. So when I wanted to start the brand, I wanted us to be very, very true to one thing, our neofuturism. And neofuturism, when people hear it, immediately think futuristic, right? But the truth is it's a blend of futurism and architecture. So I wanted structural futuristic pieces. That means I wanted a lot of structure through these pieces, and I wanted the brand to be true to its design detail, in the sense that I didn't ever want to lose the perspective of trying to appeal to the Western world in the sense of adaptation to traditional resources, in the appealing to the new acclaimed fashion. I immediately knew that I identify as non-binary. That means I'm non-gender conforming. Like, I don't care what niggas say. I don't care what, like, whichever. I know for sure that there's a lot of effeminate or feminine energy that I give off. So it only made sense to me to not be gender specific. And honestly, I just designed for myself. If I were a woman, would I wear that? Yes, that's how I would dress. If my inner body came out, what would she wear? What Asha is making. So again, I've mentioned how I'm a shy person, but clothes are my language to communicate
And express
boldness,
yourself.
express myself, to also express that I'm quite a bubbly person if you do get to know me. So the colors scream that. The silhouettes
Popping
scream
colors,
that.
yeah.
Popping colors. And people always think, when you put so much colors in a room, it becomes a
Commercial,
mess.
yeah.
Right? But I have found a way to help people understand that colors can be beautiful when they work together. And I know that Asha speaks that language very well.
Cool. As a business owner, think of all the times you have considered getting credit for your business. And then you discuss with maybe friends or family members or business partners, and there's a pushback. There's a reason for that, because credit has gotten this bad reputation, and that is when it is not managed properly. And honestly, you need to think of it as a tool that you can use to grow and enhance your business. And this is where Credit Direct comes in. When used intentionally, credit can help you stay consistent. It can help you take opportunities and also grow sustainably. Credit Direct understands the balance, right? And their approach is centered on responsibility and support, not pressure or confusion. And it's about using that credit to support your plans, not complicate them. So whether it's personal or business related, understanding how credit works gives you more control over your journey. If you have ever wanted to rethink how credit fits into your life, the Credit Direct app is the perfect place to start. What is the hardest part of being in this business? Please be honest. What's the
I'm not
hardest?
gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie. Let me just lay it on the table. I feel very, very blessed to have been able to establish a brand that has done what it has done in 2 years. I feel very blessed. Like, I'm one of those people who think about these things and choose the most superior feeling, which is gratitude. So it kind of nullifies a lot of what I'm feeling half of the time. And I'm like, I didn't start the brand to sell. I started the brand to, I'm able to do this. I wanted more people to contract me as a designer, blah, blah, blah. And we our craziest sale was last year, like 2024. We've not started doing the numbers for this year, but our craziest sale was last year. We did about, our knock dress did almost 2,500 pieces. That was insane to me.
Wild.
That was insane to me. And guess what? We had done the dress in white in the first collection. We saw that immediately my model came out to shoot. Chuchu Ojekwe, who is my photographer, says, you don't design Andrea Yama as a joke. And I was like, what?
What does that mean?
It means that he had seen the design, very similar to something that Andrea Yama had
done. Okay.
And I'd never seen the Andrea Yama dress. Immediately, there and then, I quickly went to search the Andrea Yama dress. I didn't push the dress as much because I didn't want to be seen as a brand.
Or that copies.
Especially starting off where you're creating your own DNA and you want people to be able to see what you're doing. I didn't want to do that. So in the collection, which is something I do a lot, by the way, when people see my pieces, I believe they should be able to see evolution through the pieces, right? If this is something that we've done in the first collection, we evolve that pieces, we redesign the piece and make it, more structured and more detailed to bring back in a way that is just better, which was so that dress was called the knock. And that dress was called the yoga dress, the white one. My friend was going to South Africa, Alison. She was going to South Africa and she needed a couple of dresses. We made the dress in white and she wore it. It started getting some traction. People loved it. And I saw that. But again, I didn't just feel like it was my dress because immediately somebody sees a design first and they're like, oh, that's another brand. So it didn't feel very much like my own. And then we went into doing the second collection. We did the second collection. It was bigger. It was a 60 look collection. And
60 looks?
Yeah. I'm quite known for it's either you come or you don't come at all.
Sorry.
Right. Because the standards of brands that I want to be able to stand with to these things. And realistically, like only in Nigeria, like not only in Nigeria, please. I don't want to be the person that goes, oh, it's a Nigerian thing. Please, not only in Nigeria.
Okay.
I apologize.
No, it's fine.
I'm used to seeing people do 10 looks, 15 looks, just capsules. Those are capsules to me from what I've learned in school, right? Those are capsules. Collections are big. I've seen, the Versace's, Donatella and the likes. They do looks.
Plenty
they
looks.
do looks. They put it out there. They put their, like when they're dropping a collection, and these people drop like 5-6 collections a year. So Nigerian brands were doing the 2 calendar seasons and they're still doing 15-20. So in my head, I'm just like, okay, I wanted to design this. I've been able to garner some resources from the small work that I'm able to do. Let me put myself out there. And also put yourself out there and gain the traction that you want. Is either people are seeing the designs or they're like, oh, the numbers are huge. Let me take a look at this. So we did that 60 look collection. I did an exhibition at Annie Roberts' studio. Shout out to Annie Roberts for holding my hand and saying, oh, you have just 1 million naira left. Come. I just released the collection. It wasn't necessarily making the noise that I wanted it to. And I had shot the collection. Gosh, I'm such a big dreamer. Tell me why I carried all my money, did collection. Once I started seeing small money, I booked next door studio. Called all the favors that I had with my friends. Booked like 10 models. I remember there's this model from New York. She had models for Tom Ford, Alimot Soshokumbi. She found me on Twitter. We started following each other. And she was like, oh, I'm in Nigeria. And I'm like, cool. And then a night before our shoot, I told her she was going to model for my collection. A night before my shoot, she goes, oh, but you hadn't said anything about payment. So I was like, oh, I thought we were supporting each other.
No, see, this is why you need to just speak from the beginning. I don't have money, because please, I have small.
On Twitter, she was like, when you come to Nigeria, we're gonna when I come to Nigeria, we're gonna do some work together. And I was like, cool. And now you're in Nigeria, we're ready to do the work together. I remember I was with Dija. We're styling Dija, and she was preparing for something. And I had this call and I was shocked. because there was no way. I'm sorry.
Yeah, so
she had
cute.
agencies.
Uh-huh.
She had all of this. And she was like, oh my God, we're talking about $5,000. And I know she's so cool. She's so trendy. She's so cute with it. And I was like, I don't got that money.
So what did you tell her upfront? Sister,
I told her upfront that I don't have this money that you're asking for. She was like, oh, of course you don't. Like, we spoke about working together. You won't have to go through my agencies and all of that. So we can beat it to this amount. And I promised her clothes till tomorrow. I want to come and collect your clothes too. Because she's not back in Nigeria. But I promised that outfit and I paid her some really good amount of money in my head.
Well done. Well done. So what, again, back to my question. What is the, okay, can you pinpoint what has been your biggest struggle so far? Money? No, it's a struggle.
Money is a struggle.
Not for you?
Money is a struggle. Let me not say for me. I think that what has been my struggle so far, realistically, that I've been able to pinpoint is that I do it all by myself. I do it all by myself. I'm very meticulous in how I do things.
So there's no, apart from the people who sew the outfits, you give them the directions on what to do.
I design, I illustrate, I source the fabric, I liaise with clients. I do, I bring up the ideas, I sketch it.
You have the ideas for
the campaign.
Yes,
for
that's
the
my question. Yeah, so
for the shooting.
So it's you.
Yes.
So if you are ill, God forbid, or you are not able to do XYZ, certain things will suffer.
I was ill August this year. I was in the hospital for a month plus. And I think one of the things that scared me the most or made me cry the most was the fact that something I was building, I kept thinking about it. I was unavailable for a long period. And I kept thinking about it and I was like, this is going to crumble. Yeah.
So what have you put in place or what are you doing? Because I know it's not easy. Again, if you are the sort of person who is very passionate about what you're doing, you don't want to bring in someone that will mess up your vision. And so you end up doing all these things yourself. And then you realize outside of this work, you still have your personal life, your family, your friends, even yourself. They're teaching us self-care nowadays.
I've not had a personal life in so long.
So what are you doing now? Now that you've recognized the problem, what are you doing now to solve this issue?
I'm not even going to lie. Because of the pace that the brand has taken and how it has, just grown so fast in the little time that we've existed, I think it's having me look at getting a partner in the business. And I say partnership and not an investor because
I was going to ask, do you mean like a financial partner or like an operational partner?
I mean both.
Come in, yeah, okay.
I mean both. I mean somebody who has the drive that I have, who I am able to say, okay, because some of the things that tire me isn't the creative part of fashion or running the business. I enjoy it. Myself and my team worked Saturday, Sunday. That's how you know that you have to love what you do at that point because we're tired, we're stressed. There's so much long hours, but we worked Saturday, Sunday, left the studio like 10, 11-ish yesterday. So it's the administrative side of things that tires me. The Monday morning meetings for financial back records. We have to do that. There's so much more that goes into it. And I also know that we are also able to spread our wings beyond what we presently do.
If you have this,
if we add like somebody who does the administrative work and is able to, create the wings to fly as much as we're able to. So
Thank you for being honest because this is again, I'm not going to.
I don't put it out there often. Sorry to cut you. I don't put it out there often that I'm looking for a partner. That's because I've also said to myself that if I have to do this for like the first 5 years by myself, I would gladly do it. I would understandably do it until we get to that point.
Let's talk about marketing. What marketing strategies have you tried or that have worked for you? Have you like just unconsciously done things and then boom, you have this demand for this particular dress? Or I think the first time I saw one of your dresses was on Timmy B. She wore this yellow dress. I can't remember the name of it, to a BTFM event. And I was like, gorgeous. I like this dress. And I clicked. And then I was like, oh, is this guy? Oh, and then from there. But yeah. So what marketing strategy is it influencers? Is it friends? Is it, or is it like, okay, I'm going to pay this blog to post, do you understand, photos of my client or whatever? What marketing strategies?
I've never paid a blog to post my clients. I'm sorry. Like, I don't have the...
No.
I don't have the money to pay...
don't mention any blog.
There's one famous one. They're not Nigerian. And that's my thing. I don't go to Nigerian blogs or anything. There was a very famous Nigerian blog that everybody goes to that I just clicked on. It's not like they came to me to say you paid so. I'd clicked on their distance. Like, I was wondering, what do you even pay to, show here? Because I know that the foreign girlies, the international singers and all of them look to this vlog to be posted. And I saw that it was like 1,500 for like 2 posts USD. And I was just like,
that amount just made me dizzy for 2 posts. Bro, and then you can also send close to the founder and
let me tell you, when some of the things I learned the most at OC and from my boss Bayo would always say, sending clothes to them don't ever translate. And that's the truth. It never translates in sales because there's so many factors to what is going to be sellable and what is going to be commercial. And so it's not nullifying influencer marketing or blog, marketing.
It's good for publicity in a sense, but it doesn't necessarily translate to sales. Speaking of, okay, go ahead.
Let me just quickly give a shout out to my girls. Alison Audu, Henrietta Itepu. Your house will not burn, no. Your house will not burn, no. I have the most beautiful set of friends. It makes me a little bit emotional to talk about it. I have the most beautiful set of friends. Also because it's never, I don't think of them as influencers. I think of them as my friends. But these people are, in fact, influencers in real life. They are the big deal. And why I'm giving a shout out to them is they are buyers. I will gladly send them outfits, but they would also buy. They would also be like, oh, I see this, I want it, I'm buying it. And so when Henrietta comes in her videos and she screams, the brand now, Asho. And I'm like, I went to comment, she bought this clothes. So don't think that she's screaming like this because I'm dashing her. Because a lot of people now come to me thinking, oh, you're able to do influencer marketing for so
because you're friends with all these girls.
And I'm just like, no, they are in fact buyers. So guess what? Anytime they even come to me thinking, oh, I like that. Before there's the conversation of, are you going to be willing to pay for it or not? I'm willing to send it to them because they've also been very transparent when they want to buy. But yeah, influencer marketing, to answer your question, influencer marketing is one thing I think I do. And I don't work with all influencers. I work with influencers that are actually my friends in the sense of it. So it feels very organic to me. It doesn't look like we're doing any sense of marketing. And I just promote on Instagram ads.
Okay.
I intentionally aim at doing slow fashion, right? I have a store. I have the team. If we wanted to do fast fashion and have pieces on the rack, we would do that. But there is the notion that fast fashion should be cheap. And the pieces I want to create shouldn't or wouldn't be cheap just because of the amount of work that I know that myself and my team put into the work. So immediately you begin to have those pieces on the rack. People are like, it should be you are able to make it quick. Yeah, it should be lesser.
It should be less expensive.
Yes, it should be less expensive. But pricing, we don't arrive at pricing that way. We arrive at pricing by the amount of work done into the design and what it takes to
the cost of the fabric, the cost of the materials,
everything that goes into the overhead, everything that goes into it. Plus, again, I'm very insistent on slowing down fashion at least on my own end, with my own brand, because fashion is such an industry that should not exist in the same word as sustainable because of the amount of talent that there is. We can't reduce people who are able to create a brand or create a design. That's not something we're never able to control. What we're able to control is how many pieces we're able to put out, and how we're able to, turn the cycle down a bit, because people buy clothes, wear it for one occasion and forget about it.
That's them. Oh. Me. I have clothes that are over 10 years old and I will wear it. I'm the person who wears clothes until they're like, please stop. I will wear. Even Beyonce repeats clothes.
Yeah.
So who are you not to repeat clothes? And I think that people are very delusional, when it comes to, they've seen me in this, or especially in this Instagram age, or, oh my God, I posted this outfit. I can't, you better wear your thing.
I'm glad there's like a revolution now in the sense that people now think when they are able to rewear their outfits, they are stylish because they will style it in another way. That's a new thought process, and I really enjoy that thought process. And I think that it kind of beats even when they restyle it, they actually come on Instagram, which is the place where you don't show your clothes twice. They come on Instagram and show us that, I have restyled this in another way. And that helps wearability.
Yeah. So what would you say has been your biggest lesson learned or your most expensive mistake?
I think I'm yet to make my most expensive mistake.
Okay.
I'm an overthinker. I'm Virgo. We are near perfectionists. I am an overthinker.
I want to Beyonce. I understand.
That's crazy because I literally look up to Beyonce in the sense of
work ethic.
The amount of perfectionism that you're able to see on the outside is never going to match the amount of work that is put in on the inside. But nobody's ever going to know.
People don't understand that this person has been doing this thing since age 9. How old was she when she started performing? And her father used to make her and her teammates, or I said teammates, bandmates or whatever, wear high heel shoes, sing and dance live. But I don't want to hear panting. That was their training. The man was like a military, he would train them so much, because some of you cannot go up a flight of stairs without doing but this man was making them sing, dance, dancing hard though, not these cute dance TikTok steps people are doing now. Millennials used to dance hard, right? Jumping up and down, dancing in heels, and he's telling you sing, and I don't want to hear So look, that woman trained like an athlete from the time she was a child. So I am not surprised at how hardworking she is. And a lot of times before even watching her videos, I love watching the documentaries because you see how much hard work this woman goes. She sits down, she would rehearse, then sit down and watch the rehearsal again and say nope. And then she will control everything, not just the songs she's singing, the dance steps. She's looking at the lighting. Director. Yes, she's looking at the lighting and she's like, this is not. She's
one of my iconic videos of hers are saying, but I asked the lights to be in white. Why wasn't it already in white? Why is it blue?
And then she's like, look, I'm not trying to be nice here. She was like, look, leave niceness. This is business.
She's paying for everything.
Do your work. So I sometimes when she's on tour and things go wrong, like one time she almost fell off something and I was just like, I know they're going to fire people. She almost fell off the car. She almost fell off the horse. There's so many things.
The wardrobe malfunction was the craziest. Like Beyonce's pants dropping.
And her dancers were coming. If you didn't watch well, you won't even know what was happening. But it doesn't mean that she doesn't make mistakes. It's just, at the end of the day, it's just inspiring to see that I'm not a singer, I'm not a dancer, but this person takes their craft so seriously. She's watching her rehearsal. She will sit down again and watch even the lights and say, this light was supposed to be a certain color. This is not how I imagined it. This is not how I envisioned it. You will get it right. So
I had an experience that was very rewarding recently on our shoot with Ireti. Ireti was the star of my New Year campaign, and it was such an honor to have her there. Now, one of the things they had told us before the day was, if you're booking her for 5 hours, she has 5 hours. She understands. don't take her time, blah, blah, blah. I wanted to treat her right, did everything I wanted to do right and make sure that she didn't have a bad experience with me. And when we wanted to start, we're supposed to start shooting with our own scene, but things just went off as with any production. And she was in the RV, she was sleeping on the bed. I explained to her. And at the end of it, she ended up staying maybe 8-9 hours, but in the most graceful way. And she said to me, I apologized when I was seeing her off to the car. I apologized, And she was like, no, I could see how much work you were doing to make sure that everything ran well. I had told my cousin that on my shoot day, I would sit down like this because I had paid a 45-man team to come and shoot the campaign.
Jesus.
Right? I paid like everybody and their assistants. Okay, you're coming with 3 assistants. Okay, I paid everybody. I want to sit down, but no, I have videos of me sweating like a goat, running around, making sure that everything was okay because I saw that if we wanted to achieve what we set out to achieve, there was no way I was going to be sitting down. And I saw that, and somebody recognizing that and giving me 4 extra hours of their time is quite rewarding.
Yeah.
And the way that she said it, she said, you were working so hard. I could see you running around to make sure that things were happening and being respectful to everybody. At the same time, she told me that, she noticed that I was even checking in on other people because like, have you eaten? Is everything okay? In the midst of the craziness that was happening. And that just made sense. And that's what I say with this thing. That's why the Beehive is able to recognize Beyonce's talent and the amount of work that she puts into the work that she does.
So there's so much to talk about, but I just have 2 questions. What do you want Asho to represent in 5 to 10 years?
My thing is, I don't think too far so as not to disappoint myself. I ensure that I am very, very satisfied with where we are.
Okay.
And I am happy for things to change and things to grow. If in the next 5 years, I am not the one running Asha, but Asha is being run in the most beautiful way possible, I will be happy. Because I've also just said that I want a system where designers come in and go. If I'm not the lead designer of Asha tomorrow, I will be very happy because if somebody with a fresher perspective is able to elevate the brand, why will me being the owner stop them? I see that that's not a thing that a lot of Nigerians like imbibe into the culture of their work. But that is something that I want to be able to do. I've said that I have other explorations that I want to do with my life. Like in my very short time, I've gone through 2-3 careers. I want to go through at least 3 more just to be able to explore and see how well I'm able to live my life to the fullest. And it doesn't limit to fashion. So yes, I don't think too far about the next 5 years. Again, I want a brand that is filled with so much grace. When people look back at our journey, I want them to recognize like grace and hard work and perseverance and just like storytelling. I want people to be able to wear our pieces and immediately like be colorful, be warm rather. I want people to be able to see all of those through our pieces. But me in particular, I don't have too much expectations of the brand. Now, this is not to say I don't have goals. I do have goals and we work towards them, but I am not one to out and say, in 5 years, I need us to be this or that. No, I want us to be doing incredibly well, stand amongst the other brands in the world and say, we created something out of Nigeria that can stand and be compared to other stuff, but no expectations at all.
Well done. Well done, I have to say. And advice for young creatives, people who are trying to start something. It might not just be fashion, but what is your advice?
Just start. I think that's it. I always say that people would not necessarily believe your visions when you tell them. That's because they are visions for a reason. You're able to visualize them and not everybody can see through your eyes. So show them.
This week, we're giving away a gift voucher to a Nigerian fashion brand. I'm not going to mention which one yet. All you have to do, download the Credit Direct app, show us some proof in our DMs, and you could be this week's winner. You know, so thank you for that, and thank you for coming. And I'm just so grateful that we got to hear your story. And because people will just see you and just be like, but boy, that guy that just likes to dress. We don't know.
I do get that a lot. I'm so like, I think people glamorize like what they're able to say. And I always say that please, please, please. I know it is easy to get carried away, but understand that people only show you the parts of them that they want you to see on Instagram.
This episode was brought to you by Credit Direct.